Senator Rand Paul has been aggressively pursuing that.
Recently launched a campaign to hold Hillary Clinton accountable for her crimes. How are you going to accomplish that?
We're all for it. I think an indictment would be a good idea, followed by a prison sentence.
Joining us now from Bowling Green, Kentucky, to elaborate, Senator Rand Paul. Okay, Senator, you're maybe the first, maybe the only U.S. senator who said that she should be locked up. Why do you say that?
Well, you know, I'm a big believer in equal protection under the law. You know, whether you're rich or poor, white or black, everybody should be treated the same under the law. I represent a lot of soldiers in Kentucky, Fort Campbell and Fort Knox. Every one of those soldiers knows they can't take classified information and have it on their personal computer, and they know there won't be any exceptions, that they will be prosecuted, they'll be put in the brig, they'll be stripped of their rank, and they'll be booted out of the military. And so I don't think it's fair to hold our soldiers, many of them enlisted men and women, to one standard and then say to Hillary Clinton, oh, well, she can do whatever she wanted. I think anybody else in this situation would have been prosecuted, including General Petraeus, who had a similar situation where classified information was not where it was supposed to be and other people had access to it. They didn't do anything to give him a break. He was prosecuted. And so, no, I think it's very unfair that Hillary Clinton wasn't prosecuted. And this is one among several reasons why I think that really her dishonesty should preclude her from really being considered for commander-in-chief.
Senator, why do you think FBI Director James Comey did not recommend her for indictment to the DOJ?
You know, interestingly, my own personal theory on this is that I think he wanted to indict her, and I think he feels guilty that he didn't. And I think that's why you got this long, detailed explanation of how dishonest she was. You know, she didn't actually lie to the FBI during the testimony, but she lied to the American people on multiple occasions. And he pointed this out in specific detail. And the FBI doesn't have to do that. So my sort of personal theory is that Comey feels a little guilty about not indicting her, so therefore he spelled out for the American people, so at least the voters can find out that she did lie many, many times to the public about whether or not she had classified email out there. You know, one of the classified emails that Judge Napolitano has pointed out was the schedule for Ambassador Stevens in the last 2 days of his life. You can understand why, you know, Ambassador Stevens wouldn't have wanted the jihadist to know where he was, when he was, and why that was inexcusable that Hillary Clinton would put that out there and not put it in a secure place.
Do you think intent mattered? I mean, we had been hearing up until the Comey decision that intent didn't matter. So it didn't really matter if she intended to send a classified or receive classified. It mattered that it actually happened. Apparently, Comey says intent mattered in this case.
Well, you know, there's sort of a technical legal detail, but a lot of laws you have to have intent. This particular law, you have to show gross negligence. So you don't have to show intent. You could just be extremely careless.
Wasn't she?
Yeah, that's right.
Wasn't she?
That's exactly what Comey said she was, extremely careless. And so for many of us who aren't lawyers but do believe that words mean something, how is extremely careless different than grossly negligent? So, yes, I think she did violate the statute. But more importantly, she showed that her convenience was more important than national security, and that to me is inexcusable and goes to a great deal of her judgments that I think show her not fit to be president.
Well, you know, you say the term is above the law. Is she above the law?
I think often the Clintons appear to be. For example, Bill Clinton made millions of dollars giving speeches that had business before the Secretary of State. So one business wanted to sell electronics to Iran in violation of the sanctions. Bill Clinton got $750,000 from them. At the same time, Hillary Clinton was deciding whether or not she would let them sell things to Iran. Same way with the uranium company. Bill Clinton got I think $750,000 from a bank that was negotiating the purchase of a North American uranium company. Just so happens Hillary Clinton had to vote on that also. So the conflict of interest just goes on, and I think it's indictable. I think she should be in prison for it. But short of that, I think every voter in the country needs to know that the Clintons are in it for themselves. They're in it to make money, and they will make hundreds of millions of dollars if she gets in the White House, because they will sell themselves to the highest bidder. Every voter in America should know that, and they should make a sincere judgment on whether or not you want somebody who's in it for enriching themselves or someone who actually would defend the country.
No doubt. Senator, there's some, let's call it this, there's some potential breaking news out there. Julian Assange, who heads WikiLeaks, says there's some emails that pretty much tie Hillary Clinton to knowing about some weapons that may have been going through Libya to some of the ISIS fighters. Let's take a listen to what you asked her back in 2013 Benghazi hearing.
It's been in news reports that ships have been leaving from Libya and that they may have weapons. And what I'd like to know is the annex that was close by, were they involved with procuring, buying, selling, obtaining weapons? And were any of these weapons being transferred to other countries, any countries, Turkey included?
Well, Senator, you'll have to direct that question to the agency that ran the annex. And I will see what information is available. And
you're saying you don't know?
I do not know. I don't have any information on that.
Now, if WikiLeaks, in fact, does have emails proving that she did know, what does that mean to you?
It's a felony to lie to Congress. You can get 5 years in prison. And we can't continue to say that the Clintons are above the law. I do believe that the CIA annex in Benghazi was procuring weapons, some of them to get them away from the jihadists in Libya, but some of it to ferry those weapons through Turkey into Syria. There have been many, many firsthand accounts. New York Times, London Times, Washington Times have all reported upon this. I know for a fact that the current Secretary of State is very aware of what the CIA is doing, and I can't reveal what I've heard from him, but I can tell you that he's aware of what the CIA is doing in Syria, and I find it hard to believe that Hillary Clinton, who all the news reports have said she was the biggest advocate for arming the Islamic rebels in Syria, many of whom turned out to be not only enemies of ours, some of them may have turned out to be ISIS, but some of them also turned out to be enemies of Israel as well.
All right, Senator, we're going to have to leave it there, and we will be waiting to see if WikiLeaks does, in fact, have those emails that tie her to knowledge of what you just, the question you just asked her, where she said had no knowledge. Senator Paul, thank you very much. Up next, Rudy Giuliani will sound off on the new Clinton email revelations and his new gig with the Trump campaign's president. What could possibly go wrong? Joining us now, my pal and eternal sparring partner, Geraldo.
Well, you know I love you, brother.
You too, brother. What turned you on today? You watch the show?
Let me just say that, and I don't mean to start in a contentious tone, but you said that I would be the view from the left or the liberal side. I'm not a liberal, I'm a moderate. And to be to the left of you is very easy since you're to the right of Attila the Hun. But put that all aside. But I say that lovingly, and you know that I'm a big fan of the best-selling author and media phenomenon. But I just want to point out also much more substantively that you had the candidate, Donald Trump, you had Rand Paul, you had Rudy Giuliani, and you had the former Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich. All four, and yourself, all five of you were wrong about Hillary Clinton being indicted over the email scandal. I saw it coming, and the reason I did, and you and Speaker Gingrich and Senator Paul spoke about it, was that these are crimes of intent. You have to intend to violate the securities laws, the intelligence laws,
according to Rudy Giuliani,
General Petraeus
according to Rudy, he said she should have been indicted, and under RICO.
But he was wrong, and I have suggested that the mayor was wrong.
Federal prosecutor who put bad guys away.
Jim Comey at the FBI said he was wrong. Why don't Republicans just swallow their pride and say, okay, we're wrong about that. Now let's move on to something where there is a probative value in terms of like the Clinton Foundation. That to me is fertile territory for exploration. Because even though the Clinton Foundation has been getting decent, quote unquote, ratings from the various agencies.
Terrible ratings.
No, they get decent.
Terrible ratings.
They get generally.
They can't even figure out if it's a foundation or not.
I understand that the critics of the Clintons say that, but I'm talking about the actual agencies that review charities, give them decent ratings.
It's called Charity Navigator. You can look. They're having a hard time figuring out what the money going here, this pocket,
I think
that
pocket. That is exactly what I'm saying. Let's probe that. There is real substance there. Quid pro quo.
Senator Rand Paul said
that's very interesting and valid.
Senator Rand Paul said if Julian Assange releases the emails that he says he has that tie Hillary Clinton to knowledge of weapons and arms going to ISIS, she should go to jail.
Going to ISIS? What about the arms going to Turkey? I believe.
Well, she denied knowing that, too.
I believe in my heart of heart.
She denied knowing that, too.
I believe in my heart of heart. What was that large CIA annex in Benghazi doing? I believe they were collecting sophisticated armament with the idea that they would then be transferring it to some ally of us in the Middle East. I think that is also a valid issue to probe.
She denied that too, and his point was
but
lying to Congress is a felony.
She didn't lie to Congress, though. Eric, we have been over that and done with that.
Well,
why don't you argue on the merits? Why don't you probe something that is important?
We have tape of her saying, I have no knowledge of that, and according to Assange, it's not out yet, I get that. There is knowledge of that.
Well, let him put up or shut up.
Then we'll come back and talk about that.
It is like,
if that's true, you come back and we'll do this again.
Yes, it was like, was her email hacked or not? There's no evidence her email was hacked.
Got to go.
And co-founding ISIS
wasn't that bad. Geraldo, thank you very much. Up ahead, she may be the only Olympic athlete giving Michael Phelps a run for his money in Rio. The amazing feat that should make every American proud. Next.